Um, Imagine driving a car, turning the wheel, and like suddenly realizing the steering column has been entirely disconnected the whole time.
Right, yeah, you aren't actually driving at all. The car is just driving itself.
Exactly. And according to chapter 13, verse 21 of the Gita, that disconnected steering wheel is basically your entire life.
I mean, it completely flips the script on what it means to actually act in the world.
It really does. So, welcome to today's deep dive. Our mission today is to explore this profound concept, to really figure out why you might constantly feel trapped by life's ups and downs.
Yeah, and how a radical shift in perspective can basically set you free.
Right. Because the verse states something wild, that nature is the cause of all material activities and effects, but we, the living entities, are the cause of the sufferings and enjoyments.
So to make sense of how that disconnected steering wheel works, we have to divide all of existence into two strict categories.
Okay, what are they?
Well, on one side, you have the observer, which is pure consciousness, and on the other side, you have the observed.
Which is everything else, right?
Exactly. Inert objects, bodies, all of which are just constantly changing by their very nature.
But wait, if nature is just doing its thing, causing all the material activities, I mean, the feeling of personal ownership is still incredibly strong.
Oh, absolutely. It
So,
feels totally real.
right, like if I build a house, I am definitely the one swinging the hammer. I feel the sweat.
You feel it, sure. But the observer, the true you, is never actually involved in any action whatsoever.
Okay, but the hammer is still swinging.
Yeah. But the material world, the observed, can't act with intention because it's completely inert. It just changes naturally over time. So
Hmm.
building that house is really just a sequence of those natural material changes.
Wait, so if the true me is just watching and the material world is just churning along mechanically, somebody has to be taking the credit.
Right, there has to be a middleman.
Yeah, a middleman stepping in to say, I built this house.
And that middleman is the ego. But here's the catch. The ego doesn't actually exist.
Wait, really? It doesn't exist at all.
No, it's a phantom. When the pure consciousness of the observer reflects onto your mind, it creates this illusion.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, the ego steps in, looks at nature changing, and falsely claims, I did this.
Well,
It's like a reflection in a mirror thinking it's the one moving the glass.
okay, so if the ego falsely claims the action, I assume it's also claiming the reward. But how do you explain the undeniable physical joy of eating, say, a vanilla ice cream cone?
That is the trap of enjoyment right there.
Right, because if I'm not the doer, am I not the one tasting it?
Well, think about the mechanical reality of eating. It's really just one form of inert matter, the ice cream, converting into another form of inert matter, which is your body.
But calling my mind a piece of inert machinery feels incredibly counterintuitive. I mean, I vividly feel the pleasure of that ice cream,
You feel it because your mind is borrowing consciousness from the observer.
like borrowing heat.
Exactly. Just like a cold rock warms up when placed in the sun, your mind heats up with awareness because it is so close to your true consciousness.
Yeah.
So the ego falsely claims the action of getting the ice cream. So it logically steps up to claim the reward.
And that leads to bondage.
Yes, because when you claim the reward of the high, you sign a contract making you liable for the inevitable low. By identifying with the pleasure, you become mechanically bound to the pain of losing it.
Wow, so that baseline exhaustion you might feel, that isn't just physical. It's the fatigue of the ego constantly taking credit for things it isn't actually doing.
Exactly. You get caught in this relentless treadmill. Action leads to enjoyment. Enjoyment breeds desire for more, and that desire forces further action.
And that eternal cycle is basically the definition of bondage. To break it, I think of the text's analogy of the sun and the dirty gutter.
Oh, that is a great one.
Yeah, like if the sun reflects in a stagnant, dirty gutter, the reflection looks gross and dull. But the actual sun up in the sky remains completely untouched.
Right. And you need to remember, you are the sun, not the gutter.
But if the ego is the thing trapping me on this treadmill, then freedom must mean somehow deleting the ego. How is that even possible if it's so ingrained in us?
Well, because it's a phantom, it can't actually survive scrutiny. Think of the ego as an uninvited guest at a wedding.
Okay, I like this. An uninvited guest.
Yeah, this guest walks around, eating the food, acting like they belong. But the moment the two families start communicating and asking, wait, who is this person?
The guest quietly slips out the back door.
Exactly. They vanish because they were never supposed to be there. If you strictly divide yourself into the true observer and the observed, you start questioning the ego.
And under that intense scrutiny, the ego simply disappears.
Yes. Realizing that this entity never existed in the first place, that is true liberation.
So, wrapping this up, your true identity is the observer. You are completely untainted by the changing world, the actions you think you are doing, or the results of those actions.
Right, you are not the steering wheel and you are not the car. You are just watching the scenery roll by.
And once you stop claiming the actions, you no longer have to carry the heavy burden of the results.
Beautifully said.
So we will leave you with this final thought to mull over. If every action and reaction around you is simply nature interacting with nature, what happens to your feelings of deep regret or even overwhelming pride when you finally stop taking the universe so personally?